Hey, folks, welcome to the Accessible Hunter Podcast. I'm Greg Trainer along with my co host Mike Hudson. And today we got our friend Cathy Holman from Prairie Wife and Hills in Wyoming on with us. And we're looking forward to talking with Cathy. We were doing a little bit of a special episode today. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Cathy is certainly an expert in this field. And Mike and I thought it was important to
Mhm.
have her on again. But, Mike, what's going on in South Carolina, brother?
Hey man, we're just making the dream come to fruition, dude. It's one of those things every day we just have to make a conscious decision to get up out of bed. And how are we going to live it today? And I'm right along with you, brother. I look forward to your smile every day, and I've got those motivators that say you're not staying down and you're not staying negative. So,
Well, well, man, you and I are laughing because we're having, a really good conversation with Cathy before we started the podcast about a lot of things in life, and we're giggling and cutting up on each other, and we're talking about, we're a little bit older. We don't have any modesty anymore in life, being quadriplegics, and this is going to be a different topic for everybody, but. Breast cancer awareness and cancer in general is such a serious topic.
right.
It's nice that we can approach it from our own viewpoint, how we deal with the healthcare industry and the healthcare profession. And Cathy, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you would just kind of introduce yourself a little bit. I know that we've had you on the podcast before, but not everybody might have seen that episode. So if you
Which
don't
is
mind,
their loss, isn't
go,
that right,
it
guys?
is
Oh,
it,
100%.
it is a
They got to
major
catch up.
loss. That's right. Go look us up.
It was a pretty fun one. First of all, guys, thank you so much for reaching out to me, especially this topic of breast cancer awareness. Let's be real, too, guys, being willing to have an open conversation about women's health. Like, thank you. This is absolutely the direction that we need to take this. I am, as you said, Cathy Holman, Prairie Wife from prairiewifeandheels.com is how a lot of people know me. Originally from Milwaukee, city girl, gone country. I moved to Wyoming for college to find a cowboy and marry him. And I did. Pros and cons, we could go on forever about that. But I currently live in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and I have 5 kids. And what I do as a media personality is just find all sorts of ways to help people live a life of grit and grace, which is how we found each other. I can't remember if you found me first, Greg, or if I found you, but we started following each other. And I started sharing your podcast because we are a hunting family. I have a lot of people that are my followers that go for that Western lifestyle.
Mhm.
But what you do with being an accessible hunter and talking about accessibility, that's not in my wheelhouse. So I love that you've created so much amazing content so I can share it and help educate people right along with you. So keep on doing that.
Cathy, again, thank you for coming on and being able to talk about this topic. Greg and I get it from multiple standpoints. I am a husband, so being able to make sure I can take care of all my wife's needs. It and we got married after my injury, so for better or worse, takes on a whole different scenario. She knew she was
Yeah.
jumping into issues, but with
Yeah.
aging and everything, even as a male quadriplegic, we're going to have some issues. And here's one of the things most people maybe do or do not know about paralysis. On day one of the first things we have to figure out how to make it work. So humility goes right out the window when you
Yeah.
got a lot of people coming in cutting off your clothes and they're like, "This
Yep.
is how you're going to do bowels and bladder for the rest of your life."
Yep. Yep.
So it flips a switch right away, real quick. But thank you again for all you do on multiple facets. Welcome to the country lifestyle. Uh, we're glad to get
I
you out
love
of the
it.
city. I know. We're glad to get you out of the city. But again, thank you for all your awareness when it comes to that. Um, in the realm of your personal walk, um, I know you had some family history and that kind of
Mhm.
led you to doctors and whatnot. Um, if you had somebody on here that maybe didn't have a family history, what would be one of the first pieces of advice you would give them about being checked for?
Yeah. Mike, you just asked a whole bunch of good questions. So I'll answer your first one the there and then talk about all the other things because you had so many good points. I don't want to miss any of them. So the average woman walks around with a 12% risk of breast cancer. That's the average person, someone that doesn't
Wow.
have any family history. So then when you add family history to that, you're going to up that percentage. So for
Hmm.
example, my sister and my mom were both diagnosed with breast cancer. Those are considered first degree relatives, and that
Hmm.
really bumps up your chances of having breast cancer to way higher. The problem is, and I'm sure you guys know this, the advice about what to do is changing every couple of years. It used to be that you didn't need to worry about getting mammograms until you were in your 40s. And then if you had a relative that was diagnosed with breast cancer, you started getting mammograms 5 years before the age they were diagnosed. So my sister was diagnosed at 38, so I should have started having them at 33. Some
Hmm.
people said 10 years before. Now some people are saying wait to do the mammogram until you're 45. Other people are saying do an ultrasound. Other people are saying MRIs are way better. Other people are saying mammograms give you cancer. So here is my thought on that. I think that it is better to do mammograms at 40.
Hmm.
What has been recommended. I have just known so many women that have caught something that didn't have a family history.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily think, and then it's up to your doctor, right? Should you go every year? It's not that big of a deal. It's a half-hour appointment. Most insurances will cover it. Is it a little uncomfortable to get your boobs squished? Yeah, but whatever. Like we're women, we're used to uncomfortable, right? Like, not a big deal for us. So my thought is to stick with that recommendation. But again, I'm not a medical professional.
Hmm.
But the reason why I say that is I just know so many people who have had it caught early with that. And also, it's a huge stress factor as a woman to worry. You guys don't, men do get breast cancer, but the risk is much lower. We have breast
Right.
cancer, uterine cancer, and ovarian cancer that we have to deal with. And you guys sadly do have prostate cancer, but right, we've got so many more things that we have to keep track of. For me, it's just on the list. You need to go every year and do it. For people
Ab-
that have a family history, I think it's incredibly important to go to a genetic counselor. That's
Hmm.
something new, and most insurances will cover it. There's two things you can do. You can just get a blood test, and I think now the panel will screen you for 70 known gene variants. And based on what you come up with, like there's BRC1, BRC2, they know if you test positive for that. And I'm just throwing this number out, this is not accurate.
Right.
You're like 70% chance of getting breast cancer and 80% chance of getting ovarian. So if you test for that, you need to start taking action and screening right away. Some people, like my family, neither my mom nor my sister nor I tested for any known gene variant. So my mom had breast cancer, my sister had breast cancer. We went and got tested, nothing. So it's called a high hereditary risk. Then
Right.
you go to a counselor, a genetic counselor, and they figure out your percentage of risk based on some magic number they have and sitting down for an hour and talking about Aunt Susan and what she had and Uncle Joey and when he died, right? Um, and then you can base your decision of what you want to do. And by decision, I mean, do you want to start monitoring yearly? Do you want to
Hmm.
monitor every 6 months? Do you want to do what I did, which I chose to have a preventive mastectomy, which is where I removed all my breast tissue. I did reconstruction. So I got implants in so no one would even know that I had a mastectomy. And that way, that took my risk from the high percentage it was to 2%. So now my
Fantastic.
risk of getting breast cancer is 2%. Insurance will cover those preventative surgeries if
Hmm.
you can show them that your risk is 20% or higher. So
Okay.
the normal person is 12%. You can't just go in and get a preventive mastectomy. But once you've met with a genetic counselor or tested positive for a gene, you'll have that percentage of your risk. You turn it into insurance. It is cheaper for insurance to pay for you to have the preventive mastectomy than it is to pay for the mastectomy, the reconstruction, the chemo, the radiation, and all the other things. So that's
Right.
what they pay for it.
Yes, ma'am. It's cost effective for them. And, really you're responsible for your own health care. Everybody has a choice and decisions
Yeah,
to make every day with the lifestyle that we all lead,
great
whether we're
point.
whether we're eating healthy, whether we're exercising,
Hmm.
you are a type of person that takes care of your body. Before you had the surgery, you were very active, and
Yep.
and afterwards as well. I mean, the
Yeah.
recovery process that you went through.
Yeah,
Um,
you get to walk around with no arms, which actually, Greg, I'm so glad you mentioned that because Mike, you alluded to having to count on a caregiver in your guys' situation, and that's something that I really wanted to open up a conversation about because I know you have a lot of men that are listening to this. And
mhm.
guys, if your wife gets breast cancer, or even if they choose to have a preventive mastectomy, you're gonna have to step it up. Like, I think that the divorce rate when women are diagnosed with cancer and the men that leave them during that, it's appalling
It
how much,
Yes.
really is.
like, it's appalling and it's sickening to me. So, opening up the conversation and maybe we can talk a little bit about your guys' experience with having to have a relationship with a caregiver. And I can talk, I mean, my my husband is not a nurturer. We're just going to
Yeah.
put it that way. And he would agree with that 100%. And
Right.
so when I had my first surgery 9 years ago, 5 kids, they were all under the age of 9. So I had a 9-year-old down to a 1-year-old
Wow.
stay-at-home mom. Like I was the main caregiver. And with the surgery that I chose, of course, there's lots of different avenues you can go. But with the
Hmm.
surgery that I chose, the first part, the original mastectomy part, I couldn't use my arms for 3 weeks. And for 6 weeks, I wasn't allowed to lift anything. So the baby, like I couldn't take care of my kids. And just being able to use T-Rex arms, as I called them, though I'm sure you can tell, like, I'm amazing. Like, I can change a diaper like this. I can, like, make dinner like this without moving my arms. But he really had to step up to the plate and he had to help with wound care because I had drain.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had to wash my hair at the time. I had really long hair and like he got all the shampoo out and he's like, ugh. And I'm like, you have to put conditioner in. And he's like, what?
We're starting the process again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just little things like that, right? And just not I had always been the caregiver. Even after I had babies, I was the person that was like, get out of my house. Like I just want to figure out how to deal with this right.
Sure.
I'll be
Sure.
fine. I love you. Go to work. Um let me get it done. So I think that if men are put in a position where they have to be caregivers, where your wife receives a diagnosis,
Hmm.
use the resources that are out there. Don't just think you can fumble your way through it or her friends will take care of her because they're not going to, because they have their
Right.
own stuff that they're doing and that's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility.
Hmm.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I don't know what you guys want to add to that from your experiences or your thoughts.
Go
Well,
ahead, Greg.
I, sure. I'd like to add a little bit to that. I've been a quadriplegic 26 years. And as Mike said, from day one, you have to get used to strangers being intimate with you in your care,
Yes.
whether that's cathing, um, bowel program, things that as men, as women, it can be very embarrassing. It can be a sense of intimacy that I'm not comfortable with a lot of people. Now, that being said, you have to get comfortable with it because every 3 or 4 hours in the beginning, I need it calved. So somebody would come in, whether it's a young woman or a young man or an old woman and an old man, and they're inserting a tube in your penis and cathing you.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what you can get used to in a hospital, but you have to think that this is going to be for the rest of your life. And the people that we surround ourselves with, the spouses of family members, that we're asking for this care on a daily basis, whether it's Christmas, you still have to go to the bathroom, you still have to get a
Hmm.
shower, you
Yeah.
still have to get dressed. It can be overwhelming for a lot of families. And I can see where the divorce rate would be very high, whether you're a male or a female, with everything that goes along with being the
Mhm.
caregiver for cancer or spinal cord injury. Just not everybody can handle that situation. I'm fortunate enough that I have a very loving wife, and no matter if she's sick with the flu or what have you, she's never missed getting me up in my chair, never missed putting uh, you know things out for me that I needed out, what have you. But not everybody has that, Cathy, and
Hmm.
you were certainly lucky that Cowboy was
Yeah.
not not skilled in hair washing, but he became skilled in hair washing.
He did.
It's nothing that we can't learn. And
And
when
that's
we,
it right there, Greg. You just hit the
right,
nail on the head. Like you have to be patient with each other, but you have
yes,
to be willing to step up. He did not want to. Like the man was
Sure.
dry heaving, emptying
yep,
those drains. Okay. That is
yep,
not his thing, but he was willing to step up to it. And I also had to ask for what I needed, right?
yes, ma'am,
And not be embarrassed and say, hey, like I know you hated giving me a shower. I know that was only 2 days ago, but like I need you to help me with another one because I feel gross
yep,
and and so I think that that's just something that's really important. And if we're talking about breast cancer awareness, let's just not put all the responsibility on the women and keep track of your health and make sure you're cared for. But let's talk about some of these real topics that I think a lot of your listeners can relate to and the commitment that you make when
Right.
someone you love has been diagnosed
yes,
with cancer or has an unexpected illness that leads to something else or an accident, right?
Right.
Um, and I think that your crowd is going to be receptive to that. And I think maybe that's a new door that needs to be open. People kind of get breast cancer awareness, right? They get you're supposed to check once a month and, do self exams. And they know pink means breast cancer awareness. But, and I think I feel this especially too, because my mom, she just passed away from ovarian cancer, but my dad was her caregiver for the 6 months and the chemo was brutal and he didn't have any clue what he was doing. And he is not, I mean, he was born in the 50s. Hey, boomer, I love you.
Right.
And it just, how he stepped up to the plate was amazing, but also like the overwhelm that he felt. And I'm 1,000+ miles away from where they are, so not being able to help. So just being aware of all those different levels that come with a breast cancer diagnosis. We want to emphasize prevention, but let's also talk about the realities. And we thank God live in the internet age. You guys are putting resources out all the time for people through sharing your experiences, and thousands of others have done the same. There is no reason in this day and age, if you are a husband whose wife has just been diagnosed, or mother, or someone
Hmm.
whose sister's been diagnosed, that you can't Google, what can I do to help? What are the
Right.
best
right,
ways to help? What are some local resources? It's all out there for you. There's no excuse. Do it.
right,
You brought up a whole heap, Kathy. It's all about, well, here's the kicker. It's all about communication, right?
yes,
We have to figure it out. As men, I don't understand everything about what a
Yeah.
woman goes through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm teachable because I love my spouse. And it's
Amazing.
about raising awareness about the things that are out there, ways that we can continue back. But it's all individualistic. So we also have to say what's going to work best for our family. Tell me
Yes.
how you want to be cleaned, where you
Yep.
want to be cleaned, and none of
Yep.
it's ideal. You know, we
mhm,
we didn't ask for an accident, injury, or a
Yep.
diagnosis. But
Yep.
here's the situation. It's slap in our face. Let's work the problem and let's do
Yep.
it together.
Yeah, and that's it right there. And what a blessing if people just hear this and remember this because the statistics are insane. Chances are you're going to know a woman that
Yes.
gets diagnosed.
yes,
I don't think I know a single person who hasn't even had, forget about just know someone, but a family member.
Yes.
And I don't think we need to get into all the different reasons why or why not. It's as
Hmm.
you said, Mike, like this is the reality we're facing. So how can we do this together? And another thing that we touched on off camera when we were just kind of hanging out and I want to address, I'm not sure how much time we have left because I've just been having so much fun. Frankly, I haven't paid attention at all, gentlemen.
Keep rolling.
we've got all day. This is an important
But I
topic.
know by the nature of the beast that this is a hunting podcast, we have a lot of listeners that live rurally.
Hmm.
Mhm,
And this healthcare issue, I'm sure you guys deal with it with trying to get to professionals that are educated in your experiences and can best help you. But Wyoming is in what we call a maternity desert. We do not have enough gynecologists, OBGYN, women healthcare focused workers to treat the population that we have. We even have multiple hospitals that no longer have maternity wards in them. I'm not sure if that's the right term anymore because I'm, not a boomer, but I'm certainly not Gen
Right.
Z. But so there's women that have to go 4, 5 hours to get to a hospital to give
yep,
birth. birth. And I was talking to you guys, this is just a pertinent example right here. So with my mom's recent ovarian cancer diagnosis and passing away, the first thing you have to do as a woman is you then immediately have to call your OBGYN.
Hmm.
That needs to get added to your file, and you have to talk, how can I keep myself safe? We have this new risk factor. What do I need to do? So I call, and this is not, I love my doctor here. She's amazing. I called in August to make that appointment to have that conversation. And the soonest they could get me in was April.
Wow.
And this is
Wow.
how people die. Like, this is
Yes.
why women are dying. And they're blaming it on us and saying, well, you didn't make an appointment because you were too busy taking care of your kids and you just kept on putting it off. Well, yeah, you're right, because I did put it off for a couple months because things were crazy. But then when I called, they couldn't see me for 8 more months.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And then
And
I
you,
made that appointment for 8 months, and I didn't know what my life was going to be like then. And my kid needs surgery the same week that I scheduled that appointment 8 months ago. So, right, like it's just this awful thing, and I don't know what the solution is.
right.
But guys, when your wife says she has an appointment for something like that, she's like, it's my annual checkup. That's code word for all the girl stuff. Um,
Yep.
you need to step up to the plate and make sure she can get to it. Even if
Hmm.
that means you have to take over childcare for the day, especially if it's like us where you have to drive a long way to get to that doctor's appointment, or maybe just be aware of it and be like, "Hey, have you done your annual checkup? Like, have you?"
Sure.
She's like, "Oh, I've put it off for the last 3 years. Like, we're not having babies anymore." Like, red flag, red
Yep.
flag, red flag. This stuff happens quick. It is awful. It's terrible. But this stuff, like, I mean, especially if we're talking the ovarian cancer, like by the time they see it, you're probably a stage 3 already.
Right. And
Exactly.
that's the sad part with prostate and everything else. It's a
Yeah.
silent
Yeah.
killer. You
You
just
got
don't
it.
know. Get ahead of these things. None of us want to think about
Yeah.
our mortality or any of that. But if you stay ahead of it, you might have extra
Yeah.
years if you
Yeah.
catch it fast enough.
Or at
And
least you
it's
won't have the burden of wondering what if. Like,
Yes.
right. And that's the scary part, Kathy, is you brought up another great point, as you always do, but it gets back into certain things. We're following all these parameters. And I live close to a major city, so I could get over for some care. But there in our city, they're taking away some of the ability to have interactions with our doctors who are specialists on multiple occasions to go see a hospitalist that's a doctor that just works in the hospital.
yeah.
So we're losing that relationship. And then two, we used to have these things. I'm a lot older than you, but and I never had this, so don't throw me into this. But they used to have doctors that would make house calls, and it was all
Oh,
about
yeah. Yeah.
doctors with relationships.
Yeah.
And I brought all that up to say we're losing the relationship, not only the home family dynamic, but as a society, we're starting to lose some of that. We need to get back to the morality of taking care of our spouses, our family, and getting ahead of this health situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And Kathy, you really wanted to highlight how important this annual checkup is and not blowing it off just because you're feeling fine.
Right.
Because by the time you're trying to make an appointment, it could be 8 months realistically before you see someone.
Yeah.
And then to do a follow-up visit, things can get, pushed to the
Yeah.
back burner, as they say, really
Yeah.
quickly. So it's just
Yeah.
so
Not to mention data, right? Like, so if you're going every year, they have, okay, everything was fine, everything was fine. And then all of a sudden,
right.
Yeah.
Your levels are increasing all of a sudden, and we want to get on this while it's stage one, not stage three
Hmm.
or stage four.
yeah.
And we really appreciate you pointing all these things out for people. And if people just take one thing away from the podcast, it's your health is the most important thing that you
Yep.
have. It's not your home, it's not your car. Next to your children, your health is probably the number one issue that you need to be aware of. And Mike and I are hyper vigilant on our situations with wound
Yeah.
care and being quadriplegics because we have to be. And I think sometimes when so-called able-bodied people, it's always we're worried about somebody else, we're worried about our parents, we're worried about our kids, and especially for women, especially the higher risk. Please, if you don't do anything else, take this seriously. Go see your doctor, make the appointments, follow through,
Yeah.
and take care of yourselves because we want you around for a long time. Mike and I don't know what we would do without our wives and our
Yeah.
Hmm.
family, and
Yeah.
it's just there's so many lives that we can save through preventable health care.
Yeah. And it's your responsibility, right? Like you have to stand
Yeah,
up, you have to make the time and do it. But that being said, it's fair and reasonable to count on your partner to help ensure that happens,
sure.
Absolutely.
But
right?
there's nothing wrong with accountability. Hold them
Got it.
accountable.
Yep.
Communicate
Yep.
with each other, and learn. You're a family dynamic for a
Yeah.
reason. You
Yeah.
chose that partner for better or worse.
You got
So
it.
if worse comes up, stick with them, guys.
Yep.
Kathy, would you like to end the podcast with a message to people regarding Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or is there something that we didn't talk about today that you'd like to bring up?
I mean, world peace is always good, but
Yes. Yeah.
no, I just appreciate you guys opening up your platform because it's one where I think we're going to hit a lot of people that maybe don't get exposed to the concept of women's health. And we all know and love a woman, like I said, sisters, mothers, spouses. My number one thing I guess I would like to say is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's not just check your breasts. There's
Right.
so many more layers we should be talking about and opening
Mm.
conversations about that are going to save lives, like those annual checkups, talking to your spouse. Hey, I know this sounds really weird, but like, you know, have you had your annual visit? Like, are you keeping track of that? Because I love you and I want you around. Is there a way I've dropped the ball and I could make it easier for you to take
Hmm.
care of yourself? And Mike and Greg, you both talked too about the whole body thing. It's not just about those annual checkups. It's that daily, day to day, what are you doing to make sure you're healthy? So if you, as the man of your household, are listening to this and you realize that your family has gotten into the pattern of eating out, sitting down and having 10 beers a night, not doing
Right.
anything on the weekends, like how can you be the leader of your family and get up and get everybody moving or make little changes that'll keep you, your wife, and your children healthier and happier all along?
Kathy, you hit so many points. I always love when you come on, always vibrant, ready to roll. Again, we always accept a challenge, so we're up for it again if you are. Thank you again for all you do in the hunting realm, in the breast cancer awareness realm, in the fashions. You're rocking pink, solid
Right, it's
today.
breast
Right.
cancer awareness, so you know I
Hey,
had to rep my pink.
yes, you did. But thank you for taking the extra time to come on. And we just love being able to share multifaceted opportunities for education. And it's just about raising awareness on so many other
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, thank you
And
for having me and for creating such amazing content. It makes it easier for me to educate people just by hitting the share button. So keep it up, guys.
Kathy, one other quick thing. You didn't mention in your introduction that you're a mountain lion killer.
I am.
Last year you were fortunate enough to tag a mountain lion in an
Yep.
incredible hunt. Do you have any plans this fall for hunting or uh,
So I do not. Everyone is making fun of me because the mountain lion is the first and only hunt I've like gone along on hunts, but it's the only animal I've ever killed and I have no desire to do anything else. It's not that I have a problem with it, it's just not my jam. I will say that we just went over Labor Day weekend and scouted the area where my husband is taking three of our kids because we have three kids this year that are all old enough to go elk hunting.
Oh,
So,
awesome?
wow.
and I think I've got only one person in our family drew a whitetail, which that's a bummer. So we'll definitely be deer hunting, and by we I mean them. And I, just cook the meat if I need to. I'll help. We usually process our own, and then of course
Sure.
antelope hunting. We're in Wyoming, so we make jerky and sausage out of the antelope, or we donate it. That's an amazing thing that our first lady Jenny Gordon has started to do. Is she's got
Hmm.
a lot of collaborations with different processors across for her hunger initiative, and so we donate
Yes.
wild game to help with that. So,
That's amazing. We just had Randy Ferguson from Hunters sharing
Yeah.
the harvest on
oh, great,
here
same
in PA.
concept.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
concept, and I think they donated like 200,000 pounds of venison last year to
it's
hungry
amazing.
families in PA. And
Yep.
Yeah,
if you're fortunate enough to be able to do that, that's amazing. And
yeah.
we wish Cowboy and the kids good luck elk hunting, and we're definitely going to be looking for pictures. We follow you every day on your
I'll
social
be posting
platforms.
them.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on with us, and we hope you enjoy your day. And thank you for everything you did.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. See you soon.